Ooh. Yeah. We are just gonna we are gonna absolutely destroy his little hole. I'm sure he's 18. Hi guys, I just want to take a second to thank all my patrons here who have donated to me. No matter how much they've donated to me, it really means a lot to me. And if you guys want, you can check out my Patreon and help support me continue to make yaoi videos. Thanks guys. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of, what is this game called again? Valentyne Stories Necromancy, right? In the last episode, we got acquainted with some of our academy mates, and now we apparently accidentally chose this little runt's room. I didn't think I'd be getting him. I thought I'd be getting some. So I thought I'd be getting more like the guy on the left when I chose the really the really expensive looking room, but I kind of wanted the guy on the right. Look at him, isn't he so enchanting? I kind of want him. Mr. Leroy was as angry as Carrie was hilarious. Even Hyde, who had been rather impassive until then, smiled. I savored the small effect of my reply, like we appreciate a warm goat's milk in winter. You forgot where your place is, filthy little peasant, when you're not of the same social class. It is thanks to wealth like my family's that peasants of your kind can get to study here. You owe me respect. Ugh, God, I am not ready to try to romance this little bitch. But I respect you. Runt is affectionate. My falsely innocent tone made him explode. Do you know where you can put your affection? I have a feeling I know where I can put it. I already told you, later tonight. Damn it, Rainen. Calm down. You're the one who started it. Ah, so you are Rainen? No, I am your worst nightmare. You'll pay for that, plebeian. Weird how not threatened I felt. Once the presentations were made, a man wearing a uniform similar to... Okay, all of you felt, just like I predicted, several of you felt so inclined to tell me how to properly pronounce Elias. Apparently, it's supposed to be pronounced Elias. Don't know how you spell Elias like that, but, you know, whatever. Elias. Similar to Elias, scolded us for being nosy and informed the curfew was at dusk, which meant soon. As I thought I was going to the famous room that had disturbed everyone, my stomach began to protest loudly, outraged. The idea of going to bed without eating anything went through my mind. Slowly, I looked up at the boys, hoping no one had heard anything. But the howl of distress my stomach let out was clearly too loud to go unnoticed. Sorry, I haven't eaten anything since I arrived. Ah, don't worry, I'm hungry too. I don't know what kind of food you were used to at home, but you'll see that the food here is worthy of a prince. Of a prince? As if! We can't even have several refill, and there's never any desserts. What? They don't even let you have seconds? Isn't this supposed to be a rich place? They can't even have seconds? Desserts? Aren't those very sweet dishes that cost an arm and a leg? He must be unbelievably rich if he's used to eating it. Why are you staring at me, slob? No reason. Carrie wrapped his arm around my shoulder again to bring me elsewhere. Come on, let's not stay here, otherwise the guards will grumble again. Hyde was right. We ate like princes at the academy. I was served dishes to die for, and they filled my stomach like on a festive night. I had been able to taste those unknown fruits I had seen on the stalls of the capital, and I had to admit, with regret that my mother's cooking was not the best cuisine in the world. I had eaten with Hyde and Carrie, who were kind enough to show me where the dining room was and how it worked. We talked about my trip, the reason I was late, and Carrie had fun watching some of our elders look at me like I was some kind of circus monster. I was the only student still wearing his civilian clothes, and among these immaculate white uniforms, my outfit was a little discordant. Raynon had preferred to eat alone, something he always did according to Hyde, and had left the refectory way sooner than we did without even looking at us. Every other students were all eating together, and we already had 2 clans, Raynon against what he considered to be the other social class. To sum up the evening, I was able to familiarize myself a little with the students of my class, except the one with whom I was going to have to share my room with. It was pretty ironic. This is where our paths diverge. I'm sure you regret not having taken the same room as me now. I regret it. Completely. Yes, completely. Yet there were signs. This guy had a canopy bed. There's only Archon snobs to sleep with something like that. I found the decorations pretty. You have weird tastes. There was an awkward silence, then I spoke again. Good night, guys, and thank you. It was great not to be alone for this first evening. Don't mention it. Oh, and good luck. Good luck? Don't be so dramatic. Okay, don't get pissed off about it then. Raynon looks very special, but he can't be that bad. I wasn't talking about him. Huh? Carrie smiled and entered his room without saying a word. Hyde did the same, leaving me alone in the hallway in front of our bedroom door. I was as nervous as when Elias had opened the classroom, only this time he wasn't there to open it for me. After straightening my clothes to look less like a slob to my roommate's eyes, I took a deep breath and entered the room. Crap. Maybe I should have knocked before. Stop! Freeze! You're walking on my part! What? I had barely a foot in the room and Raynon stooped in front of me to prevent me from going further. I was stuck in the doorway by a boy 1 head smaller than me, not knowing if I had to push him to enter or obey him and stay still. Not wishing to argue with him already, I decided to play his little game. Okay. At least let me close the door and I won't move anymore. Yes, sure. He looked at me, a little surprised to see me so docile, then pointed at my bed with a big smile. It may have been a mistake playing along. He was jubilant. Now get on your bed and don't move anymore. That way I can teach you all the rules of this room. You know, it is mine too, huh? No, it is my bedroom. I was there before you. I lived there longer than you, so it's mine. If you wanted one, you had to arrive at the same time as everyone else. And if you had eaten with us, you'd know why I'm late. Already tired by the long discussion that was waiting for me, I joined my bed. Although the tailor assured me I wouldn't get my uniform until the next day, it was ready and carefully folded on the shelf above my pillows. I could enjoy the softness of the mattress by sitting on it, and the softness of the covers under my fingers. It had nothing to do with my hay stuffed. It had nothing to do with my hay stuffed mattress, and my woolen blankets more irritating than a flea invasion. However, I did not have the time to marvel at the comfort of the academy offered to its students. Raynon stood before me, hands on hip, ready to assert his authority. Are you ready to listen? So are you like a twink top or something? A twink dom? Do I have a choice? No, you don't. Do you see the sticky tapes on the ground? They determine the places where you have the right to go, and those which are prohibited to you. Sticky tapes? Where did you find that? Are you listening when I talk to you? Yes. Yes. No need to scream. Perfect. I'll use simple words so that even you can understand them. Here is my space. And this is your space. Is it clear? Do you understand? Is he going to keep treating me like a dummy? So far his request was legitimate. I agreed with the idea of keeping each part of the room without invading the space of the other. Anyway, I was not the type to search in anyone's stuff. The problem wasn't what he asked, but how he asked. The sticky tapes, which I still don't know where they came from, had separated the room so that only 10 centimeters around my bed was accessible to me. According to them, everything else belonged to Rainin, even the furniture that's supposed to contain my belongings. Wait. I'm not even allowed to use the bedside table? And put your nasty stuff on my tablecloth? Certainly not. What about my wardrobe? How do I access my wardrobe? You stand on your bed and stretch your arms out as far as you can. Where there's a will, there's a way to grab the handle of the wardrobe. And the door? How do I go out of the room? I wait for you to open it, take a deep breath, and jump? Well, I thought I would allow you to use my space only to go away, but your idea is better. It will make you exercise. What do I do? Do I kill him now or right now? Tear off tapes? Grab him by the collar? Let's grab him by the collar. Let's show this twink who's the real Dom. If I let him do whatever he wanted from the start, I was never going to get out of it. It was necessary to remind Mr. Leroy that he was nothing more than a student in this academy, just like I was, and that he couldn't decide for me, that he couldn't decide whether or not I would invade his hole tonight. That was up to me and me alone. As I got up, Rainin took a step back, suddenly aware that he had gone a little too far. I had only to reach out to catch the collar of his uniform and drag him closer. Ooh, yeah, we are gonna absolutely destroy his little hole. I'm sure he's 18. He was so light that I needed only one hand to keep him close. He quickly put his hands on my wrist to try to make me let go, but he had so little strength that I barely felt his fingers tighten around my arm. What are you doing? Let go of me now. You're the one who brought the topic. We're going to talk about the rules of this room. He started to panic, whereas I was calm again. My anger had vanished the second I grabbed him. I even found funny to see this boy, who had given me orders a few seconds earlier, losing his manners at once and becoming as red as a ripe fruit. It was strange to admit, but he was almost cute. Are we really gonna maybe do something with him? Decided to make him understand that he wasn't in a position to dictate anything to me, I brought my face closer to his, forcing him to look me in the eyes. I'll let you go when you admit you've gone too far. We'll stay like this for a long time. I won't say anything. As you wish. Rainin began to think at full speed. He got redder every second and started kicking me in the shins, hoping to take advantage by bending me. No luck for him. I had legs of steel. Seeing me smile more brightly under his desperate assaults, he eventually gave up. Okay. You have half of the room, and I have the other. Let go of me now. Without saying a word, my smile was enough. I did so, exalted. Rainin jumped back to get away from me and straightened his clothes, cheeks still red. If his eyes could have killed, I would have been brutally murdered that night. You brute! When I tell this to Mr. Valence, you'll be fired from this academy! I think you mean to use the word expelled. I don't work here, you dumb piece of shit. Do you really want to tell him that you forced me to come to fist because of a whim? He insisted we must respect all students at the academy, and I am sure that forbidding me from accessing my closet is quite the opposite of this. Rainan began to blush more. He turned around, showing his back to reluctantly take off his damn stripes off the ground, glaring at me each time I got in his view. I looked at him with satisfaction, more and more amused. You have the right part of the room, and I have the left. Is that good? It's perfect. Once these new rules were established, Rainan renewed the tape markings so that the room was equitably shared. Oops. Rainan renewed the tape markings so that the room was equitably shared, with a special frame around the door. What is this? I thought we both had one half. This is the neutral zone, where we both have the right to walk. You really had to. Well, if it makes you feel better. Is it good now? Are we done with these rules story? No, given what has just happened, I need to add one. Touch me once again and I swear I'll make you regret it. I would use all the resources I have to get you out of this school. Well, don't give me any reason to do so. Especially, don't blush at me like that. It just makes me want to touch you even more. What am I saying? Rainan was going to add something when suddenly... Bam! 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 What is this? The other idiots. The other idiot who's having fun. The other idiot? What other idiot? There's only one in our class. Well, no, it's two now you're here. I'm talking about Dejetti. Saying that I had no idea who this person was, he added. Oh, for heaven's sake. Kiri, I'm talking about Kiri. Don't you remember our last names? Hey, I only heard them once. I'll have to hear them a little more for it to memorize them. But what's up with him? Why is he hitting the wall like this? Or maybe he's spanking someone? A little kinky, I like it. To prevent me from sleeping. Seeing that I didn't understand, he said again. How can you be that stupid? His room is right next to mine, so he likes to hit. I don't know what against the wall we have in common just to annoy me. It's like that every night. Crap, is that why Hyde wished me good luck before we left? Hey, will he stop, right? I sleep in this room too. I told you I should have chosen another room. Carrie continued to bang on the wall against which my bed was sitting for 5 long minutes until he had enough and left us alone at last. I could eventually enjoy my bed and end this exhausting day by wrapping myself in blankets, my nose in my pillow, breathing with pleasure the smell of the freshly laundered bedding. I was so tired that I didn't even notice the movements Rainan was doing to put on his night clothes. Damn, I totally missed him changing and in the nude. Kinda wanted to see that cute boy ass. I fell asleep immediately after closing my eyes, carried away by the heat of my new bed. Ouch! I let out a grunt of pain while straightening up on my bed. Usually when a stomach ache managed to wake me up in the middle of the night, it was because I ate too much spice the day before and my stomach was screaming for revenge. However, this time the pain had nothing to do with the meal that was difficult to digest or an unukai chili rashly swallowed. I had just been hit. Still a little stunned by this brutal awakening, I narrowed my eyes to discern the features of the person standing next to my bed. Seeing me move, Rainan jumped back. Despite his haughty look, I could clearly see his lips tremble, his fists clenched, ready to defend himself if I ever got angry. Which I quickly did. What in the hell? Why did you hit me? You didn't give me a choice. You were disturbing my sleep. What are you talking about? I didn't move from my bed. You were snoring. That's what I'm talking about. You're loud enough to shake the walls. Ah. After the exhausting day I had spent, it was natural that the exhaustion made me sleep a little noisier than usual. All of a sudden, I understood why Rainen had decided to wake me up. Trying to sleep with an unpleasant ambient noise could easily anger someone. But there were less brutal ways to wake someone up, and judging by the guilt I could read in his eyes, Rainen knew perfectly well that his way of doing things was far from a gentleman's. And you couldn't calm me or shake me a little? Even throwing water on my face would have been more acceptable than hitting me. Do you think I didn't try everything to stop you? Just look around. He pointed a shaky finger at my bed. It was only then I realized the mess it was. At my feet, on my legs, around my bed, and even on my pillow were small objects of all kinds, light enough to be thrown at someone without risking injury, but heavy enough for the shock not to be unnoticed. Obviously, Rainen had thrown everything that was within reach so I would stop from snoring, but failed. Surprised that none of this managed to wake me, I took the small statuette of a bird in my hand, examining it from all angles for some reason. I smiled, picturing my roommate losing a little more patience with each of his failures until he got up to fix the problem himself. Seeing my face relax, Rainen did the same. He moved closer to my bed to get back his things. Rainen did the same. He moved closer to my... Wait, what? Seeing my face relax, Rainen did the same. Rainen did the same. He moved closer to my bed to get back his things. Why did it repeat itself like that? And he moved closer to get his things while grumbling that I was the worst thing that had ever happened to him, and that it was unacceptable that someone like me had been accepted here. I let him do as he pleased, not wanting to waste my time answering him, and not helping either, of course, but before turning my gaze to the window. Judging by the shining moons and the calm outside, this moron pulled me out of bed before the roosters. Of course, I could have tried to lie back down, but my body was used to be ready to start a new day as soon as I was awake enough to have a clear vision and a clear mind. In a very bad mood at the thought of having lost hours of sleep I would have needed, I grumbled at Rainen. If at the end of the day I die of tiredness, count on me to rise again and come choke you. On hearing the tone of my voice, Rainen gave me the same look as Mr. Valence when I got a little too familiar. He ended, however, smiling and let out a small sneer. And I shall give you the real death you deserve. Ooh, real death, guys. Time to look in our little journal. Let's take a look at this one. I'm sure this one won't get burned. When a dead person who has risen up is being taken care of, it's said that they have just been granted their real death. The one they should have had from the beginning. If that definitely puts an end to their existence. Okay. Unlike the real threats and nonsense that I had heard from him, his last reply was neither haughty nor sarcastic. He uttered it simply before continuing to pack his things without another look. Since it was useless to stay in bed staring at the ceiling until dawn rose, I got up to properly prepare my first day as a student at this academy. Since I was covered in dirt due to several days of travel, I decided to use the academy's bathroom, the one Elias had shown me the day before as we were going to the tailor. Falling asleep without even cleaning myself a little didn't bother me at the time. I only wanted to get to my bed as soon as possible, but I didn't want to put on my brand new and fabric immaculate white uniform without washing myself before. Finding the room took me a good half an hour. I knew it if it existed, and I even remembered walking past it. But the halls of the academy seemed so different at night that I couldn't find my way. After going around the school 8 times, I eventually managed to find it. At first, I was the first one to go there. The only source of light in the room was provided by the moons, and after banging my foot several times against the stones and wooden fences, I started looking for something to light up the lamps in the room. Once the last of them was lit, I could eventually stare at the beauty of the room. It should have been called public baths and not bathroom. It had a pond large enough to allow a dozen people to get in, and 3 wooden cabins against the wall for those who wanted a little privacy. These were as big as my parents' bathroom, and much better arranged. There was a larger copper bath for each of them, a bucket for rinsing, and a finely carved piece of furniture containing various supplies. There were soaps of all shapes, towels, and even linen dresses for those who wanted to leave the room without having to put on their night clothes before. There was everything we needed to have impeccable hygiene. The room was constantly heated, as I could guess, by the fine steam that floated above the bath and enveloped the whole room. The process was so expensive that even some wealthy families could not afford it. To think that such luxury was now within reach made me dizzy. The other students remained in their beds for a good time, and so I chose to use the pond. I got in the water after throwing my clothes on the ground without looking where they were landing. The temperature was so nice that a shiver of satisfaction ran through my whole body. When I finally came out of the pool, the lamps in the room were useless. The day had risen, I could hear footsteps in the corridor. Oops. I stayed so long in the water that my fingers and the soles of my feet were wrinkled, but as serene and rested as after a good night's sleep, so I didn't regret anything. I stretched until I felt a very satisfying creak in my lower back, then grabbed one of the towels put at our disposal in the cabins. I dried my body and hair and put on one of the linen dresses. I wouldn't put on my old clothes after such a bath, otherwise I'd get dirty again in no time. I opened the door of room carefully, as I was intruding in another's room without the owner's knowledge. Although I kept repeating that this room was mine, Renan insisted so much that it was his that I ended up acting as if it really was. I sighed out of relief when I saw that the room was empty. Renan had gone out to get ready. A part of me was happy to be able to do what I wanted without being taunted, but another, certainly masochist, felt a little disappointed not to have anyone to talk to about the king's bath that I had. I sat on my bed after grabbing my uniform and started putting it on. I had just enough time to put on my pants when Renan decided to come back into the room. I got 5 minutes of grace. Only 5 minutes. Renan looked at me up and down, obviously not expecting to find a half-naked man in his room. Aww, the little baby is getting a little blushed at seeing our masculine chests. He doesn't know what a real man's chest looks like, since he's just a boy still. After a moment of hesitation, he hastened to look away, his cheeks slightly pink. He was so angry that a nervous twitch made his eyebrows crinkle. Ooh, I think maybe something will happen between us now. Maybe we'll let him touch our chest. He'll be like, I've never touched another man before. Can I touch your chest? I'm sure that'll happen. I'm gonna end this episode here, guys, so thanks for watching. Bye!